Welcome back to part 5 of Beyond Your Diagnosis. Today we're talking about Patellofemoral Pain Syndrome, which if you're a runner, you're probably pretty familiar with. Now, this is a true BS diagnosis, like BSI joint dysfunction and like shoulder impingement. It's an umbrella term for pain around or behind your kneecap. How freaking specific is that? We love it. It's not specific at all. It's essentially what you're diagnosed with when you have knee pain that doesn't fit a more clear label like patellar tendonitis or a meniscus tear. It only describes the location of the pain. It doesn't actually tell you the cause or what to do about it. Now, historically, it was blamed on maltracking of the patella, your kneecap, in the femoral groove, which is where your kneecap sits in between your femur and your tibia. Now, studies have shown time and time again that there is no one true correct method of patellar tracking, and many people labeled as maltrackers actually have no knee pain, while many people with normal tracking have pain. They've had surgical attempts to fix the tracking, and they have very poor outcomes, which wouldn't be the case if maltracking was the real problem. So there is no reliable test to definitively diagnose patellofemoral pain syndrome. It's diagnosed when everything else is ruled out, which is not the same as having a true condition. Side note, anytime you see anything that's a syndrome, unless it's like, all right, Marfan syndrome, which we're going to talk about in the next video on hypermobility. Oh, there's a bonus one. Unless there's like genetic testing or blood tests that can diagnose the syndrome. But when it's like IT band syndrome, that's also a BS diagnosis that I could go on and on about, but a lot of you also didn't vote that one. But if you want that one, let me know in the comments. But anything that's a syndrome typically is made up. Like even like IBS, irritable bowel, that's a good word. Irritable bowel syndrome is also a BS diagnosis that just says like, oh yeah, your tummy hurts and we don't know why. That's basically patellofemoral pain syndrome. Your knee hurts and we don't know why. So the reason this is detrimental, because being told that like your kneecap doesn't track right shifts the focus away from what actually helps, which is strength training, progressive loading, workload management, and shifts the focus toward avoidance out of fear to push it further out of place. There's a lot of things that can cause your knee pain. It's kind of impossible for me to really touch on everything. However, if you were diagnosed with patellofemoral pain, it's likely that your pain is more in the front of the knee and doesn't typically fit that tendonitis diagnosis. So the pain is likely coming from, there's a lot of things here, so stick with me, but it's likely coming from quad weakness, any kind of hip control deficit, specifically in the glute med or glute max, poor load management, ankle mobility restrictions, specifically dorsiflexion or overpronation, even nervous system sensitivity or sudden increases in running, stairs, squats, plyometrics. Are we noticing a pattern in all of these? The pattern, I'm just going to tell you it, is load versus capacity. We're exceeding the current load of the structures. There's some kind of weakness or mobility deficit somewhere in the chain that's making its way toward that structure that's bothering you. What we need to do is get to the root cause, figure out where in the chain is there a deficit and how do we address it. And that's what we're doing in each of these videos. So what we can do instead, just to recap, patellofemoral pain syndrome is a non-specific symptom-based label that doesn't tell you what's causing the pain, doesn't guide treatment, and is built on outdated theories of maltracking. Your knee is probably sensitive right now because the load exceeded its capacity. So what we need to do is reduce painful activities temporarily, like deep squatting and high volume running, and maintain activity within a tolerable range. Like that 3 to 4 out of 10 that we've been talking about is really safe in rehab, while incorporating progressive hip and knee strengthening. So I have 5 different exercises I'm going to show you for this one, again, because it can really depend. And the way for you to figure out if it's your quads, if it's your glutes, just take a look at like how much you can deadlift, how much you can squat, how much you can single leg extend on the machine, and single leg curl, and see where those deficits lie. Are you stronger on the right side versus the left side? Are you stronger in a squatting pattern than a hinging pattern? And that can give you some ideas to why this knee pain's happening. So if it's really your quads, we need to build more quad strength. Some things that you can do, again, I'm just giving you guys some basic things you could do at home. What you're going to need to do is build on this. You're going to need to continue to increase the load. You're going to need to either get more equipment at home or end up at the gym in order to progressively overload. But this is a great starting point for you to help reduce your symptoms and get back to the life that you love, or get back in the gym if you're currently out of the gym. So at home, what we could do for the quads, we could do a short arc quad and we can do a single leg wall sit. I'll show you both. Wall sit might be hard outside, just realized that, but I think you know what a wall sit kind of looks like. Anyways, and then for the posterior chain, for loading the glutes, we could do step ups, we could do hip thrusts. When it comes to the ankle, we can work on deficit eccentric calf raises to build capacity for shock absorption. So I'm going to walk you through all 5 of those exercises. That could be a nice starting point for you at home. All you need is an aerobic step. If you don't have an aerobic step, you'll notice that my gazebo has a little step off here, right? You could use something like that. You could use just a regular step that you have at home. Get creative. You can find something that you can step up onto, I'm sure, or do a hip thrust on. All right, so short arc quads. Now, this is an adjustable step. So for the purposes of this video, I'm not gonna increase the height, but I probably would want to increase the height to do a short arc quad. All this is, this is a really low level exercise. You are literally, and again, this is too low. Maybe it is worth it. Let me raise this bad boy up. All right. So, yeah, this is better. Ideally, you're sitting 90-90, okay? And all you're doing is kicking your leg out. Very simple. So this is really low level. It's basically a single leg extension. Obviously, we can make this harder. We can add ankle weights. We can attach a resistance band behind me and be kicking the resistance band out. But this is a great way to engage the quad and load this tendon in an open chain position that has a little bit less risk to reward, okay? So literally just this, short arc quad, okay? The other thing we can do for the quads is to do a single leg wall sit. Single leg is significantly harder than double leg. Now again, I can't really show you that, well, I'll just hold on, but you shouldn't be holding on to anything. This is your wall sit, right? So then you just get into a wall sit and you just kick one leg out. And now you're doing the single leg. Parameters for these exercises. Now, short arc quads, pretty simple. It's really just to get that muscle engaged, build that mind to muscle connection. So those, you can probably do 15 to 20. I would recommend, if you're not like post-op or anything, that we're getting an ankle weight, we're using a resistance band to build the strength there, because just kicking your leg in and out is probably not going to be as effective for you. So I would do 15 to 20 reps each side, 3 to 4 sets. For a single leg wall sit, them bitches are sneaky. I would start with 15 seconds on each side. If you notice a weaker side with either of these, you're going to match the stronger side to the weaker side. So for example, say on my left leg, I can do the shorter quads. I can do 12 reps. On my right leg, I can do 20. I'm going to do 12 reps for both sides. If I do 20 on my right and 12 on my left, I'm going to further that imbalance. Same thing with the single leg wall sets. If I can do 20 seconds on my right and 15 on my left, and I do that, I'm going to further that imbalance. So we're going to match the strong side to the weak side. So if you already know you have a weak side, start with that side, and then just do the same for the stronger side, no matter how much more you could do. Okay? So for the single leg wall sits, we'll want to do 15 to 30 seconds each side, 4 to 5 sets. Okay? Now let's move on to more of the posterior chain. So we have step ups and hip thrusts. So for your step up, right, we've got our aerobic step. You can make this target more quads or more glutes, depending on which one you find is weaker on you. So to get more glute, we're going to hinge at the hips more, okay? You can hold on to something if you need, so that you get that angle and we're really getting the glutes. So then we step up. Now what I don't want to see is this pushing. I can't even fake it, pushing off that back leg. We don't want to see that. We want to tap and come back up. Tap, come back up. So that this leg is doing all of the work. If you want to do a little bit more quad, then you're just going to be more upright. Like this. So see, my hip angle is not as deep. And we can even exaggerate the knee angle and really force that knee over the toe. And that'll get a little bit more quad. When we're targeting that patellar tendon, going down really slow with that knee over toe is going to help get that a little bit stronger. Okay? And that's true for any exercise. Bulgarian split squats, leg press. If you want to get more glute, you need an increased hip angle compared to knee angle. If you want increased quad, you need an increased knee angle compared to hip angle. Okay. Then we'll do hip thrusts. So you use the same step. For hip thrusts, you want to make sure that the bottom of your shoulder blades is against the step. And imagine squeezing a lemon between your armpits to really keep the upper body nice and strong and stable. And then you're going to tuck the tailbone under, scoop up, slowly lower down, tap, and squeeze and come back up. Okay? So, in all these exercises, control is very, very important. Control, especially when we're doing at-home workouts with lighter weights, higher reps. We add in that element of control and you can make the lighter weights feel heavier. So what I'd recommend for step-ups and hip thrusts, again, you're going to match your weaker side on the step-ups to your stronger side to the weaker side. I would do, depending on if you have weights available, then you can do lower reps, the 8 to 10 rep range. If you don't have weights available, I would do 10 to 15 rep range. And I would do 3 to 4 sets each side. For hip thrusts, I would do 15 to 20 reps, 3 to 4 sets. Last one is your deficit calf raise. So what I would do is I would use a lower step. So I'm going to drop this back down. For this one, you could even use you know, if you have like a plate at home, a little plate, you could use something light, like short like that. So for these, I like to go double leg up and then single leg down, eccentric, nice and slow. Now, again, this is tall, so I'm not hitting the ground. Typically, you go down to the ground, but this is too tall, so you can use something shorter. But this does work. Then you go 2 feet up, 1 foot down, nice and slow. I'm falling. There we go. 2 feet up, 1 foot down. And again, for those, you're going to match stronger side to weaker side, and you're going to do 10 to 15 reps each side, 3 to 4 sets. You're going to do this 3 times per week, keeping your pain between a 3 to 4 out of 10. All right. Next up, we got one more. See you in the next one.